Hi. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This feels so unfamiliar, so weird, but I'm excited and I hope that this channel can kind of be a bit more of an insight into what my life is like. I thought the first thing we could do is sit down, have a coffee together and answer some questions because I don't really think many people know much about me other than what I post on Instagram, which is part of my life. I put a little question box up on my Instagram just to kind of see what anyone wanted to know. So I'm going to answer those questions as best I can. So first things first, I guess, my age. I'm 22 and I'm originally from Brisbane. I did live in Sydney for a couple of years out of school just to, throw myself in the deep end, get uncomfortable, work full time, live out of home. I'd always been drawn back to Sydney and loved the idea of a, really busy lifestyle, all the restaurants, of course, all the places to visit. And I was actually born in Sydney, so something in me always felt drawn back. Ultimately, it wasn't for me in the end. I didn't have the best run there. People would ask me, how's it going? And I'd of course be like, it's amazing, I love it, couldn't recommend it more. But deep down, realistically, every day was just work, eat, sleep, exercise, repeat, that kind of gist. I didn't really make a ton of friends, felt quite isolated, and ended up feeling quite depressed, quite anxious, like I'd made a wrong decision. So I knew that it was time to move on just so that I didn't see Sydney as something I regretted. And I don't regret it because it shaped me into the person I am now. But yeah, now I'm living on the Gold Coast. I absolutely love it. It's, still got the busy feeling. Everyone's super active, which is something I really value. And it's super busy, but everyone also just likes to take it easy as well. I think the Gold Coast has that perfect balance of busy lifestyle, but also just wanting to appreciate the everyday. And I just find that here I can relax more. I don't feel like I have to be a version of myself that I'm not. When I went out in Sydney and stuff, I'd feel like I have to really put in a lot of effort to how I look and not necessarily enjoy myself if I didn't look a certain way. And don't get me wrong, I still, struggle to go out and about if I'm not feeling or looking my best. That's something that's probably just never going to change. It's something that I need to work on. But day to day, I just feel more relaxed here. But yeah, that's kind of what the past few years has looked like for me. I'm really hoping this microphone isn't overpowering, and I hope this isn't like ASMR. Okay, so I guess I can jump into why I got into running. That's a huge part of what I post on social media at the moment, and it's a huge part of my life. I actually started running in about April, May last year, so about a year ago. I was always that person that people would say they're going for a run or they'd talk about running and I'm like, I can't run. I can't run. I've never been able to run. Cross country in primary school, never did it, was never good at it. Did little athletics as a kid, never enjoyed long distance running. I was always a sprinter and I was a good sprinter. But yeah, when it came to kind of doing all-round athletics, I would dread 400 meter, 800 meter, and then I think there was 1200 meter as well. But yeah, last year I had my boyfriend and his brother around me. They were really getting into their fitness and really inspired me. I was at a point in Sydney where I was just feeling really awful about myself. I wasn't exercising, didn't have any motivation to. And when I looked in the mirror, I just was really unhappy with how I was feeling, how I was looking. I fell off the wagon quite a few times in the past few years with my exercise. I know how good it makes me feel, so it's always kind of a bad sign if I stop exercising, unless it's an injury, obviously. Woke up one day, got taken out on a run. There was no expectation for a distance or a pace. I think that's super important when getting into running. Don't look at anyone else. Just go with how you're feeling, but also push yourself. I think it's always good to push yourself, but know what is too much and what is kind of maintainable. So I think running for longer at a slower pace is a good way to start. But yeah, I went out on my first run and I think it was 8K I did, and the pace was almost 7 minutes, I think. And I was so proud of myself, as I should be. That's quite big for a first run. I was amazed that I could do it, and it definitely proved to me, that you just got to believe in yourself, really. Having someone also running alongside me, pushing me and saying you can keep going, that really helps. So maybe if you need someone to run with, you need to find a run buddy. That's always a great way to make it a bit more fun. But yeah, ever since then, I've just kind of ramped up how many Ks I'm doing a week, incorporated speed sessions, long runs, and I actually use the app Runner. I'm not working with them or anything, but it has helped me so much because I was really struggling with just going out and doing the same runs at the same pace and being like, why aren't I improving? So Runner helped structure my training so that I am improving, and what used to just be kind of a run that I'd go out on and my heart rate would be quite high, I've now got a much lower heart rate at a faster pace, and my speed sessions are getting quicker and quicker. I've also signed up for the Gold Coast Marathon in July, so Runner is what I've been using to structure my plans. I'll give you a quick look because I honestly could not recommend it enough. You do have to pay for it, but I think it is so worth it. I always say to people, I don't know how people did it before there were apps like Runner or a Garmin or any sort of smartwatch that you can track your exercise with. How were people running marathons at a specific pace or with a specific goal without technology like this? It amazes me, but I don't know if I could do it. So I'll show you. It structures it like this, and you can kind of see that there's different types of runs there. So there's a long run, tempo, intervals, easy. Oh, that one's a bit confusing to show. But yeah, they're structured by week. Yeah, kind of tracks your progress. If you're going, better than anticipated, it'll encourage you to adjust your plan so that maybe your speed sessions will be a bit harder, or if you're not really hitting the marks or meeting your paces, then it'll probably encourage you to slow down a bit, which I find really helpful. But yeah, the running journey has been really fun. It has helped me so much mentally. I think that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed. I look forward to going on a run. The feeling after is incredible. And if, you're thinking about starting, I just think you need to dive right in. You can keep saying, oh, I will, but you just got to start. Everyone starts somewhere. It's such a rewarding journey. I absolutely love it. Oh, favorite activewear to run in. This is something that I am still finding out myself. I am so picky with my activewear. My favorite is definitely Lululemon and LSKD. LSKD, there are a few sports bras. I'll either put their names up or photos of them on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I don't have big boobs, not afraid to admit it, but you still need support. I was noticing that, I film myself sometimes when I run and there was just absolutely no support. LSKD sports bras, the ones that I'll attach, incredible, like so supportive, so comfortable. I'm not usually a fan of thicker straps or anything like that, but I find these so flattering and they have really cute colors, so that's a bonus too. They also have some really good running shorts. They've gone viral everywhere. I'm sure you will have seen them. Got them in a bunch of different colors. But yeah, I love their running shorts. So LSKD is great. Yeah, I also really love Lululemon, more so for their running shorts. Super comfortable, and also just in general their activewear is great quality. All their Align range and stuff like that, it's not meant for running, but I do love that line for every day if I'm not running. I have quite a few questions about my diet and what I eat, and I know that this is super touchy, so I'm not going to dive into it too much, but just kind of an overview. I have only really started getting a good idea of how I need to be fueling my body this year, I'd say, or even in the past couple of months with all this running. I was finding that I felt like I was dragging my legs, that I was super exhausted and just not feeling fueled, not feeling good in my runs. So what I've had to start doing is incorporating, just eating more carbs, more protein, try and eat before my runs as well now, whether that's a crumpet, a banana, anything. I do notice a difference when I eat before I run. I mostly do just one crumpet with, honey or jam. Heard a lot of people do like dates with peanut butter. Yeah, that's kind of what I do before a run. Long runs obviously different, but I won't go into that now. So let me know if you kind of want an overview of the stuff I eat before or during a long run. And then day to day, my diet is pretty the same. I'm a creature of habit. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I love overnight oats. I've literally had overnight oats for breakfast pretty much every single day for I can't even remember how long. And then for lunches, I normally do some sort of protein with sweet potato, pumpkin, broccoli, veg, anything like that. This week I have beef mince with sweet potato and like roasted veggies. Then I sometimes top that with avocado, any sauce that I want. Biggest thing that I've found with simple meal prep is seasoning. So if you're not seasoning your food, start seasoning your food. It's just all about learning and finding out what works for you though. And then for dinners, I love cooking, but after a long day at work, after exercising in the morning, like early wake up, the last thing I want to do is get in the kitchen and follow a recipe. So I do try and keep it quite simple, and I do find that I eat quite a lot of whole foods. It's always steak, beef patties, chicken, some sort of protein with veggies, and then, fats like avocado, pumpkin, sweet potato. I'm obsessed with sweet potato, so we eat a lot of sweet potato in this house. For dessert, because I am always craving something sweet, it's either ice cream, a yogurt bowl, or fruit, because sometimes I'm full after dinner but I still want something, so fruit is really nice to have. But I can kind of dive into more of what I eat, more sort of photos and videos and how I prepare what I prepare, if that's something you're interested in, but I won't bore you with that too much now because there's a lot to it. And I also understand that not everyone wants to sit and have a food chat, especially with a 22-year-old that is not a nutritionist. I've had a couple of questions about work and studying. I actually didn't go to uni. I, straight out of school, started a designer hire business, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a dress hire business. So you buy dresses and rent them out. And so I had one of those businesses for a couple of years, which I absolutely loved, but just with going into full-time work, I couldn't manage it anymore. In high school, it was really great. I was able to do a certificate 2 in applied fashion and design. I did a business diploma too. So yeah, didn't study, and now I just work full-time in customer service. That's the only role I've ever had. I started at a jewelry brand in Sydney just as a retail assistant. Got promoted to head office to do customer service and dispatch, and then ever since then that experience has kind of got me my future roles. I won't tell you where I work now because I don't know if that is allowed or if that's a good idea. But yes, I do work full-time in customer service at the moment. These two questions kind of go hand in hand. So someone asked how you deal with blisters. I want to get back into my running but can't. And what trainers do I use? This is something I'm super passionate about because I've seen people get injured. I've seen so many people talk about good support in shoes and how important that is for running. I myself had a foot injury last year that scared the shit out of me, and so I do my research about my shoes now, and I also have good people around me that have a wealth of knowledge about shoes, so I do tend to listen to their advice as well. But always try on the shoes that you are buying. I suggest going to a place like Athlete's Foot where they can even measure up your foot to kind of see what your arch is like, what kind of shoe you need. I think that would probably be a good place to start. Also having chats with people that do run. So at the moment I have 3 pairs of shoes. I have the Asics Superblast, Nova Blasts, and I actually bought the Magic Speeds yesterday, which I am so excited about. I've been looking for them everywhere, and I'm going to be using those for my faster sessions, just a few here and there, and then I'm also going to race in them, I think, for the Gold Coast Marathon. But my favourite are definitely the Superblasts. I could not recommend them enough. I think that they're for, let's look it up. It says that Superblasts are best for fast running, and then the type of running would be like competitive and training. So I use them for my tempo sessions, intervals, and then also long runs that incorporate a bit of tempo work or intervals. I don't really know that much about running terminology, to be honest. Runner has really introduced me to all these new terms and I don't really know how to use them. If you need a professional, that's not me, but I can tell you what I know and what works for me. Okay, let's see. Tips for confidence and developing healthy habits. Like I said at the start of this video, confidence is something I really struggle with. I can't remember the last time I don't remember there being a time that I didn't struggle with my confidence. I think it's something that everyone struggles with, and it's how you kind of go about your life to, continue on and not let a lack of confidence get to you too much, or if you're feeling insecure, not letting that ruin your day. I'm guilty of that. Happens all the time. Constantly, looking in the mirror, not liking, what I see. At the moment, I'm struggling with my skin. Haven't wanted to sit down and film a video because I hate putting on makeup. Don't get me wrong. I love getting ready, love putting on makeup to go out and about, but I'm not gonna sit in my house every single day with a face of makeup on. That's just not what I like to do. So sometimes sitting down and having no makeup on, I feel really raw and my skin hasn't been the best. I've been really struggling with it ever since starting running. Might not look like a lot on the outside, but I have never really struggled with my skin, and ever since starting running, just find that I get really congested, and it knocks my confidence. I struggle with it a lot, and I'm trying to be better about not letting it get to me too much, because at the end of the day, a few pimples or some congestion isn't the end of the world, isn't really that big of a deal. It's not that deep, but I know that it can be really hard. I struggle with it constantly. Healthy habits, I think you just need to start with a few things. Implement a few changes to your life, whether that be, I'm not for cutting out sugar and stuff like that, unless it's something that you really think you need to do. I still eat ice cream. I still snack and eat chocolate, ice creams, burgers. I just have a balanced diet. I think that there is nothing wrong with having ice cream and lollies and chocolate, because I think life would be a bit boring without those things. But I do think that it's good to have in moderation. it just really depends on your lifestyle, how your life looks, and if you have any goals. With this training for the marathon, I've really cut out drinking, and I found actually that it's helped me in so many more ways than I thought. I feel clearer mentally. I have more energy each week. When I was going out and drinking, I was completely exhausted. The hangovers would rock me for days, and I would just have the worst anxiety. So I've actually found that cutting alcohol during this whole training block has been super interesting. I haven't completely cut it. I've had a few drinks here and there, but yeah, I've noticed a huge difference. So maybe it's cutting out drinking, maybe it's waking up a bit earlier, waking up with the sun. I love waking up really early. It is so beautiful and peaceful in the mornings. I love my early mornings. So maybe that's something you want to try. Maybe it's meal prepping so that you're not buying meals out every day. Even screen time, cutting down your screen time, or reading before going to bed rather than scrolling on your phone, which we can all be guilty of. I know it, but I'm really trying at the moment to switch off my phone at least an hour before bed, even if it means I'm just watching TV or reading. I find that makes a huge difference to my sleep. I have to start work in 5 minutes, so let me answer maybe one more question. Gym journey, really funny. I have really struggled with getting into the gym. I've been saying I'm going to do it for much longer than I'd like to admit. I have done a couple of PT sessions now with an amazing coach who is going to set a plan up for me, and I will be getting into the gym this week. But it is I know it's so important to be doing strength work at the gym while training for a marathon, or just running in general. Strength training complements running, as I'm sure you can imagine. But I really want to feel stronger. I want to look stronger. So yeah, I do need to get into the gym. I have honestly just been quite anxious about it. I find it quite daunting, being unfamiliar with machines, looking like a lost puppy. I hate that feeling. It's so uncomfortable. But I also said to myself at the start of this year that I'm going to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to start, and I'll definitely take you guys along for that journey. I'm really excited for it, and I think that it's going to be really beneficial for me. Yeah, I know how scary it can be. I've gone to gyms in the past, mostly to do classes like Pilates, where it's not as intimidating because someone is guiding you through the whole thing. I guess, yeah, I don't like looking like I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I've literally been talking for 35 minutes. It's 8:57. I start work at 9. But yeah, I hope this gives you a bit of insight into who I am. I'm really excited to document my life a little bit more, and if you have any questions or suggestions of what you want to see, please let me know, because I don't know what direction I'm going in with this, and I would love your advice. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!